Excellent. There we go. So I'm adapting to local customs. So I'm Alvaro. So I'm actually, despite the name, I'm actually from Geneva, very from Switzerland. But Spanish Republicans family fled to Venezuela. That's actually my history comes from that as well, of displacement. And I work for the UN Refugee Agency, which is UNHCR. I'm going to talk today about philanthropy in the age of Web3 for very obvious reasons that you'll see afterwards. Because of the context, you probably heard a lot lately about conflicts increasing also, but only this morning already we got this news. That means it's not only in the US, it's also happening in Switzerland. So obviously the UNHCR, are you guys familiar with UNHCR actually? Not really. UNHCR is an agency that is almost 75 years old. In the beginning, its only mission was to actually make sure that forcibly displaced people from World War II will get home safely after World War II. That was the only mission for UNHCR. The issue is that after World War II, then you had the Korea War, then you had the Vietnam War, then you had all the conflicts. At the end of the day, an institution that was supposed to exist for only 3 years ended up existing for 75 years. So it's a celebration, but nothing really to celebrate next year, unfortunately. And therefore, the mandate is given by the UN General Assembly. It's more or less a way to externalize a service from countries, or putting together some, let's say, resources. And this means that as an organization, they never were very used to fundraise, because the budget came from states. We give you a mission, here's the funding. But obviously, with this in mind and this, we quickly realized that state funding is not going to be enough. And now actually state funding is actually decreasing. So what do we do? So I'm here in Switzerland. I work for an organization called Switzerland for UNHCR, which is, look at it like a kind of a spin-off of UNHCR. I actually started my career within UNHCR at HQ. And what happens is that for us, it's kind of a structure that allows us to test things, to fundraise, to also give tax certificate, for example, and specifically in the Swiss territory. My organization is called Switzerland for UNHCR, but you also have UK for UNHCR, you also have USA for UNHCR, you also have in Germany for UNHCR. And in my case, it is about really looking into what's happening in Switzerland. So what happens in Switzerland is apparently we're the number one, most innovative country in the world for several years now. So how do we connect what's happening in Switzerland with the needs from the organization? So I know it's about philanthropy, but it goes a little bit beyond this, because obviously it's not only about fundraising. And our motto pretty much in our unit at least is to say, we've got plenty of challenges and problems. So there's probably a solution or something already being developed out there. We're not going to be like the tech developers or the software developers or anything like that. Our job is to be humanitarians. And so instead of creating our thing, let's bring the pain points, bring the challenges, and let's see what's happening out there, if there is something there. So in terms of blockchain, Switzerland has a huge role to play because of the legal framework. We're all here for the same reason. And our first attempt in blockchain was this. So that didn't work in terms of fundraising. We tried to do too many things. That was 3 years ago. We got lots of attention in terms of media. We tried to really do this kind of engagement piece with an actual refugee from Syria, located in Geneva. And we wanted to really add this name and actually this story behind it. It was about how do refugees see what it is to be a refugee. And so it's a Syrian illustrator who did this series on NFT. We got, as said, a lot of media attention, but fundraising-wise, zero. It was on Polygon, first attempt, and we were like, okay, that doesn't work, but it works for not what we expected. So immediately we say, you know what, maybe it's not about fundraising. Maybe one of our goals and objectives is also awareness raising. So in terms of awareness raising, we really continued that path. So it was a very interesting path for us, because then we we did like super, like we tried things, and we did super like interesting things like geolocalized cards, geographic cards, mapping on location where UNHCR is actually active. We did a collection with Turf. So that one is actually on Cardano. The other one was on Polygon. That was for Paris Blockchain Week. Then we did the typical profile picture to raise awareness, engagement. And what we discovered was super interesting for us. And you can imagine, you're talking about a UN organization. So very like a bit of like, let's say, risk averse in terms of perception, risk averse also in terms of, okay, what's this tech new thing? What you talking about making goats out of this? So what's the symbol of that? So the cool thing about this was really about talking to a totally new audience that we never speak to. And if you want to do awareness raising or advocacy work, hey, you better start talking to everyone, not only usual people. So that actually clicked. We also went to Art Basel, very close from here. I'm happy because everyone knows it here as well. And we did some very cool stuff with artists on Tezos. And last but not least, we tried some different things as well. Like that's AI-generated images of what will the world look like without displacement, without being refugees. And the images you see here are 3 countries, but we took the 14 most underfunded crises in the world. Today I'll be like speaking, showing you a few of the examples we've done and some of the things we're going to be doing afterwards. But of course, there'll be time for questions. I didn't mention that in the beginning, but it's good. One of the big areas of blockchain within UNHCR and in humanitarian world in general is what we call cash assistance. So you always have like this idea of like really this humanitarian bringing like the bags of rice and giving it to beneficiaries, but that doesn't exist anymore. We quickly realized that actually by giving cash to populations, to select populations, it was actually working much better, and also in terms of dignity and also integration within the host community was working a lot better. So hold on.
Y volver a comenzar, y me di cuenta que necesitaba independencia económica. Entonces fue cuando dije, no puedo seguir laborando dependiente a nadie, sino a mí, a creer en mí. Luego empecé a hacer tortas en sartén, porque no tenía horno, hasta que empecé a venderlas. Y literalmente allí no paré nunca. Tengo 4 años con el emprendimiento, no contaba con el dinero. Para nada, no teníamos dinero, yo tengo 2 hijas. Entonces comencé a ahorrar de lo que vendía en el edificio, me fui corriendo a comprarme una batidora de mano y un horno. Y empecé a investigar y pagué un curso para decorar tortas. Y bueno, ahí comenzó la pasión. Luego que llegué a Mirares, justo llegué en el momento, como digo, de que la inflación otra vez nos había golpeado, creo que a todos. Se me había dañado justamente la heladera. Entonces yo llegué con esa historia a Mirares y no fue nada difícil porque me hicieron sentir súper cómoda, y justo en ese momento ellos llegaron y ofrecieron ayudarme con un capital semilla, que en ese momento era volver a empezar. Entonces es tan sencillo como que tomas tu teléfono, te llega tu mensaje con que te aprobaron la ayuda, te vas a la billetera rápidamente porque es una aplicación sencilla que descargas como cualquier app. Es tu ayuda, sale la opción de retirar, le das a retirar y ahora salen 2 opciones, ir hasta Monera y retirar. Y en la segunda, maravilloso, te sale transferir. Entonces le das a transferir, te lo pasas directamente a tu cuenta. O sea, no es nada difícil, lo hace cualquier persona, porque es algo sencillo. Y aparte también están ellos para ayudarte. Creo que lo más duro...
There we go. So that was a little example of a work we're actually pioneering with, which is cash assistance. And we use Stellar, and in this particular case, and USDC, because stablecoin, obviously, for obvious reasons, is a very important aspect of that. And obviously, what this allows us, here you saw an example of a Venezuelan displaced person in Argentina, but actually the first attempt, the first pilot project was in Ukraine, for simple reasons like Ukrainian refugees trying to flee the country. You send them cash in their digital wallet, but you don't know where they're actually going to cash it out. Is it in Poland for zlotys? Is it in Europe? In Germany in euros? Yes, you have a question?
What was the name of the wallet you just used?
The wallets? It's from Stellar. I can give you all the. It's not my personal project, but I can actually give you all the details afterwards. It's more on the finance and cash-based intervention units. That's the whole process. So it's really digital dollars issued by Circle via Stellar network, becomes digital dollars, and via this alliance with MoneyGram, they can actually off-ramp it quite easily anywhere, in zlotys if you're in Poland, in euros in Germany, or in Argentina, peso. So another big topic that a lot of people ask us in terms of blockchain and humanitarian action is digital identity. That's a kind of we know it's where we're probably going to benefit a lot from blockchain as well. However, today there is still a big debate on on rights, property rights. It's funny enough, because in a decentralized system like this, but also in terms of hacking, because there has been a lot of accidents with data protection, and little by little, it's taken a lot of time. And I think that the main challenge is really about education and training, knowing what blockchain does. So today I will say the only really use case of digital identity is through payments now, to identify the beneficiary. Tokenization, that's now we enter really in the fundraising and philanthropy world. Blockchain can be a huge game changer, we believe, in terms of in terms of what we say philanthropy, because nowadays, if you think about the way that we get grants or donor help, support on a specific project, most of the time we do a reporting that is quite classical. You send an evaluator, you send photos, you do a booklet, and you show that's what we've done, here's the results. And therefore, when we started thinking about tokenization, things really clicked in terms of, okay, what about using this as a life tracker, trust the tech instead of trusting the human? Will this actually build trust, contribute to build efficiency, transparency in the way we use the funds? So we haven't launched anything yet, but it's a new way to do reporting. We haven't launched anything yet, because actually our next project is on Algorand, and we're going to actually be trying to use water tokens. Yeah, I'm doing all the different blockchains except Ethereum, and you'll know why afterwards. And actually our project, and we're the UN, so at the end of the day, you need to be like protocol neutral. So we love like hearing from all protocols, and Ethereum you were missing on our map, and you'll understand afterwards why. So how it works is quite like straightforward. We have a lot of refugee camps where what we say reclaim water, treat water, or even think about solar energy as such. And the idea here was really can we create a token which contributes, sends back to water, what we call WASH, so it's water and sanitation projects. And we are about to launch this in a few weeks from now. And we're going to be seeing how it can track and how maybe we can actually work also in terms of milestones budget funding. Like every token you arrive, once you reach the total amount you were looking for that particular refugee camp, maybe it goes to another one, starts funding another one. So those are very interesting areas for us that there are a lot of projects. I really took and we can talk about it afterwards, I only took like a selection of those. When you enter fundraising as well, that's probably the project that most people know UNHCR about, at least in the blockchain world. It's with refugee stake pool. So a year and a half ago, 2 years ago almost, and we didn't do it on Ethereum because Ethereum was still proof of work. And proof of work is really bad for us in terms of perception, because already you have to imagine that at work every day, I'm sometimes struggling to explain what I'm doing to some of the people in the UN organization. And when I tell them about proof of work, they say, oh, Bitcoin, that's so bad. Perception-wise, it's like, oh my God. So obviously when we started thinking about, okay, let's stake, and we're like, well, proof of work doesn't work. So we went to Cardano, yes. Why? Because they're proof of stake, obviously, and also because the foundation is in Switzerland. So as long as the foundation is in Switzerland, it actually makes my job easier because of the legal framework. But so the pain point here was, how do you benefit from crypto without holding crypto? Because the UN still today, it's a little bit like controversial to hold crypto because it makes you look as a speculative. Just to give you an example, the cash assistance program, when the pilot was successfully like launched in Ukraine with very interesting results, one of the first interviews that we got, I think it was the Washington Post, but maybe it's a different, but like a major newspaper from the US, one of the questions was, aren't you guys incentivizing or favoring speculation and gambling for refugees with those wallets? Well, but we can tell you about how it helps. No, but are you gambling? So that was pretty much the question we will get. So that's where we come from. Huh? So step by step. Huh? So when we were talking about staking for refugees, immediately it was about, okay, we don't want to hold crypto, but we want to benefit from here. So what we did, we opened a stake pool with Taurus, stake pool operator, where all the rewards go to the 14 most underfunded crises, but 20% into innovation, refugee-led innovation fund. So we just tried this, and as you can see, you can do direct staking, and little by little, it's shown like management and leadership that it's okay, we can hold a little bit of crypto, so we can also donate to stake, and that's a reward allocation towards most pressing refugee needs, the 14 most underfunded crises, because everyone hears about Ukraine. Ukraine is important. You hear about Sudan now, it's very important, but we're present in 134 countries, and DRC, you hear it now, but it's been going on for ages, and people usually, they're like, no, I don't want to give for Congo. I know Central African Republic, don't even get me there. So for us, it's very important that some of the funds are on earmark, so we can actually fund operations that never get funded. And 20% towards the innovation fund, refugee-led innovation fund, but there's no time for this today. So that's where we are today with 6,600,000 ADA, which is more or less the same in dollars. And we had rewards around almost $200,000, more or less. So which is a good evolution already. But we're testing other stuff. We're testing a loyalty program. Nowadays, who gives to a charity online? Who makes a donation? To that. That's actually a very good number, because normally it's like an older public, older people. So being in a crowd like this today and having as many people giving to charity is good, because normally we know that the incentivization of donating and things like that, it's not always there. So we're seeing if we can create a loyalty program that could actually reward by tokens any action you make. When you share a post, you share a fundraiser, you actually get tokens, you get points when you do, and then you can exchange those tokens. We will test if you can exchange them against goodies, against special access to a conference, or you can actually redonate afterwards, this kind of tokens. We did this on Ethereum, a big fundraiser with Christie's. You maybe know the snow throw. Yeah, that was exactly in October. We realized that actually the Ethereum community, we didn't know them yet. And that's one of the reasons we're here today with Paola, who works with me, because we realized that nowadays Ethereum is a huge actor. So let's get involved more and more with this community, as we have like amazing projects with other protocols. What about starting with Ethereum as well? So as I was saying, because I see that time is running, we've got plenty of challenges and problems. So you guys probably thought of something, fundraising, not fundraising, it's fine. We're takers, because given the situation, we can't really afford not to try. Next project, that's the big news I'm bringing to you here. We're staking on Ethereum. So with launch nodes, we are about to launch this impact staking platform where you can actually decide how much percentage of your stake, of your rewards you want to donate to UNHCR. And that's how it works. And I see that time is here. So that's just the beginning. And you can actually scan this. So we get your address, email address, and we can send you an email when it's actually on. But feel free to come after if you want to exchange. So that's it. Any questions? Yes?
Just a second.
Cool.
Catch.
I hope you was.
Sure.
Switzerland, we are a sandbox.
Yeah, a spin-off.
So we are open for ideas.
So it's less strict.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. My question is basically, do you also somehow connect these different experiments with each other? Because to some extent, it's all about like good work in the world that happened, and we want to know about it. We want to make it transparent. We want to fund it. Is there also like some way that you think of connecting them? And connected to that question also, is there a way that you actually, like you have so many things and it seems like at least some of them actually work. What is actually like a scaled up version of that? Like what is the scale that can reach? And do you plan to also roll it out bigger? And yeah, that's I think a question for now.
That's a great question. Paul actually was mentioning too. I talk about spin-off. But it is true that we're set up as a Swiss foundation, so we're still part of UNHCR, United Refugee Agency, but they pay our salary, for example. But we're much more flexible in terms of sandboxing, testing new things. When I was at HQ, just to give you an example, it took me 6 months to create a website for Switzerland, because of service provider protocols and all that. And the website was 7 pages, 6 months. So obviously you cannot work like this in blockchain. So by setting up this foundation, we're much, much faster. And the way we approach this is actually, like you said, we started with many things, the fails, which is not a failure. The first NFT drop with this, actually they started talking about, because apparently it was the first NFT from a UN organization drop, from us by a refugee. So we're proud of it, So those ones we test, and then we try to scale up. The stake pool on Cardano, for example, we're testing now a B2B approach to see if it can be a viable solution for businesses and foundations. But obviously, as you can imagine, the adoption is not the same on Cardano. So I think we will be developing, and that's the reason why we're now opening the stake pool. I mean, we're starting staking on ETH, because so we can offer various way of supporting and various alternative way for supporting the cause.
In order to push adoption, it will be ideal that we can come as a UNHCR agency and say, hey, staking is amazing, you don't lose your cash, you keep it, just the rewards, but we have, you like Cardano, we have Cardano.
You have Cardano.
Solana, if you want Ethereum, we have Ethereum to come with with the portfolio of options.
Yep.
That's something we are
Wait.
That's a cool mic. I like that.
Isn't this like a super complicated thing, like to maintain like all these different blockchains? And then like on top of that, like this is like super cool. I didn't have a clue you guys were doing this, and it's amazing. But I really think you should be on Ethereum. Like I'm biased, but but like you're launching a token on Algorand. Like who uses like Algorand?
Yeah, it's true.
It's a pilot.
Yeah.
Like if it's a utility token, like from what I understood, like this should be like on Ethereum. Like yeah, the gas fees are high, but you have like Ethereum whales there. They're going to buy it.
But that's exactly your point. Nowadays, we cannot be not accepting project. Meaning like we're not going to accept any kind of project. But as soon as someone comes up, even more in Switzerland for UNHCR, because we're this sandbox where we like to test things. If you come up to us with a project that you'd like to test, we've got the brand, access to the field, access to the name, and we have no money. So I mean, in a way, it's like if you're willing to test it and spend some resources with us, you'll get your result, you get your legitimacy as well, your viability. We test viability and desirability. But then the end objective is indeed to be protocol neutral and to validate that concept. But of course, I hear you. On Ethereum, it will make sense for a tokenization project, obviously.
Yeah, so I have like a different mentality. So like, I totally get you, that you need to be neutral. So that's fine. And also like the Goat Tribe, where was it launched? Like which blockchain?
On Cardano, yes. It was sold out.
Because I looked at it on OpenSea and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, no, it's Cardano. It's super interesting. Is the fact that we weren't expecting to do these kind of things, but the stake pool brought a lot of community support, and people started like reaching out, saying, "Can I do something for you guys? Can I advertising?" And it's actually an artist from the US, and they stopped the project, but they did the last one for us, and it sold out in a few hours. And same with Christie's, the fundraiser, same thing. We don't know how to talk, so it's not only a fundraising project, it's also an advocacy project. Christie's, it was ETH. The artist, I mean, we didn't know who to talk to, really. You know, I was okay, I have Twitter, but so first position we opened, and unfortunately, given the times now, we had to close this position, was a community manager for blockchain projects, and so she was always on Discord and things like that. So go tell that to a UN organization. We're opening a Discord channel. Wow, you sure we gotta do that? So we're really a testing ground. And again, I get you, because I get this every time I talk to a different protocol. Why are you going there? Why are you doing this there? But hey, I think that's exactly our role as well, to see what each protocol can bring.
And at the same time, we are in doing this, we are helping to unite for adoption.
See, we're working towards education, training, because that's the main thing. And that's another aspect that's super interesting. Some of the projects I didn't show today was really in the global south, happening in the global south. So you have like connectivity issues, you have electricity issues. So adoption, we believe they could benefit from it a lot, you know, only talk about the cash assistance wallets, but also it's where we get more challenges as well because of infrastructure. Yeah, I know.
And I think it would be great to connect them.
Completely.
And also, if we have a proof of concept that something works on Cardano, let's say we build it on Ethereum, make it like 100 times bigger, then
For example.
that works better.
Completely.
So that's why we are here, because we want to understand Ethereum and the community. So that's why it was like a last minute to come.
Yeah.
We want to understand. So here you will go to a Google form where we quickly maybe guess like, how can we just cast your email, or if you're interested,
Leave it there or come talk to us. And that's a funny thing. That's a new presentation for one single reason. Very simple reason is that usually when I talk to Algorand, I bring Algorand stuff, Cardano stuff. But here I was, you know what? No, I'm going to show everything we do with all the protocols, and you know, and get these kind of comments and questions because hey, let's do stuff.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Alvaro. Thanks so much for making it. It was very last minute, and it was.
That's
I think,
awesome. Thank you for having me.
Actually, deserved like a better spot, but
No, it's
maybe tomorrow.
all good.
We'll hear more about it.
And